Alright guys, so I guess this is our first conversation with ourselves video, and so I guess we should welcome our guest, me, Retro Renegade.
I'm the music critic. Please shoot me. And Retro, isn't this just a blatant ripoff of something that CinemaSins already did? Except we have a third person joining us. And what's with these random jump cuts that are going to be in the video? I mean, you couldn't figure out how to get a freaking green screen to work, you freaking idiot.
Yeah, I'm the newcomer. I'm the movie nerd. As you can tell, well, we have the music guy. We have the video game guy. The only thing to complete the little trinity would be me, the movie guy. Yeah, nice. And TV. But, Retro, what's today's agenda about? What are we conversing? Well, movie nerd, basically, in honor of you joining us, our first conversation with each other will be about the best movies of 2013. So, I thought we'd hit a high note first, and maybe in a future episode cover the worst of 2013. And don't worry, music critic, we'll cover the best and worst music. And we'll cover the best and worst video games. But that's for later. But we all wrote, as you remember, we all wrote down some of our favorite movies from 2013. And so we'll just take turns saying them, why we enjoy them. We got this collective pot right here. And we each have 3 Fruit Loops. And if you disagree with somebody, and just listen to their ideas first and just go with it. If you don't agree with them after they explain their reasoning, music critic, then you can throw in an X and back it up with why you don't agree with it. Once everybody runs out of X's, we'll share our list of what the best movies of 2013 were. Now that that's covered, let's get started. Movie nerd, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Oh, Retro, it'd be my honor. Well, my first choice was Man of Steel, the new Superman movie. Okay, it wasn't perfect, I know that, but I'm a sucker for a good superhero flick, and I thought this one was pretty good. They finally cast someone who's not a wimp as Superman. The movie was just stunning. It looked great. And I really enjoyed them having a lot of Krypton stuff for once. Instead of just adding 5 minutes worth of backstory to it and then throwing it off. This movie actually developed Krypton and made us understand the problem. And I really thought that the child actors and the adult actors went along perfectly. And that it really showed the whole growing up and becoming Superman thing. That's why I chose Man of Steel.
I understand where you're coming from, and it did have its high points, but I mean, come on. It was just so dragged out and at times boring, and the ending just sucked. You had 2 immortals throwing each other into buildings. I mean, that's like watching Brahmin and Jesus just duke it out for an infinite amount of rounds in a boxing match. Gosh. And I do hope I offended every Christian and every Hindu watching this. Even though, who would win? Brahmin versus Jesus. Death battle time. Anyway, my first pick was Bad Grandpa. I thought it was Johnny Knoxville at his very best. The child actor in there was just hilarious. Both of them really seemed to have a relationship built that really made the movie move forward. You can tell the grandfather and all the characters being dynamic for once in a movie world where very rarely do we see dynamic characters these days. Half the time they're static. But in Bad Grandpa, you do see them kind of unfold and become really good friends with each other. And it was just hilarious. I think that if Jack A continues the Bad Grandpa series, I think it would be a series that will not wear out. I think every segment of this movie, not a second was wasted. And of course I'm right. Boom shakalaka. Well, I can't argue with that. That movie was hilarious. What about you? No? Okay. So, Bad Grandpa. Alright, so my first choice was The Wolf of Wall Street. I thought this was just a great movie. It was a bit lengthy, I'll admit that, but Jonah Hill and Leonardo DiCaprio, I thought this was two guys at their best. And I love the story. I thought that there was really, even though it was such a long movie, I don't think a minute was wasted. And overall, it just really had one of those movies where a movie can have something in it but doesn't condone it. And it shows the darker side of getting rich and famous. A bit lengthy, but definitely worth a lot of Academy and Oscars awards, and definitely worth at the very least, a rental. I mean, this is not a waste of 3 hours. This is definitely something that you will enjoy. I'm sorry, Retro, but it was just too long, and at times it couldn't hold my attention. A 3-hour film does not work, especially these days with short attention spans. I mean, I love the movie, and like you said, it's definitely worth a rental. But it's just not worth best of the year. I'm sorry, Retro. Like I said, it's just too long to hold your attention. A good movie should be long if it needs to, but still holding your attention. And I think that the next movie did that perfectly. Her. Wow, this movie was great. I mean, Samantha, what's her name? Johansson did a great job as the AI. And it's basically what would happen if a guy decided he wanted bone cereal. What would happen if a guy decided, hey, that computer looks pretty hot. And I don't mean burning up because I'm using so much CPU like you do. Oh wait, you don't. You use very little editing. But I think her definitely had a great story. A little bit creepy, I'll admit. But a great story nonetheless. Holds your attention throughout. And it's just one of those movies that'll be remembered for all time. For once, you're actually saying something that does not make me want to inject cyanide into your throat with a syringe. Yeah, I loved her, and it really hit an emotional part of my heart. Well, especially what you said, part about wanting to bone Siri. Yeah, that I tried. Mainly after watching the movie, but yeah, we'll go ahead and put it on the list. But great movie. Alright, so my choice was Pacific Rim. Yes, this movie was so freaking awesome. For once, it's actually not just, oh my gosh, big machine versus big giant monster. Ugh. I mean, it actually had a story behind it. It actually had people training and building these robots. It actually showed you the stuff behind the scenes of being inside these mechs. And I got the robot dragged a ship through the streets of Hong Kong and beat the ever-loving truck out of a monster with it. Is that not cool? If that's not the coolest thing of all time, it at least has to be part of the best movie of the year. I mean, dragging a ship through Hong Kong and beating a monster with it.
Ugh. I have a feeling you're gonna beat me up after the video's made, but come on. Just because it has giant robots fighting giant monsters does not mean it's good. I mean, it was a decent enough movie, but best of the year? Pish posh. Anyway. The Hobbit Desolation of Smaug. I thought it was finally The Hobbit 1 was good, but Desolation of Smaug, it just blew me away. I thought it would be a total bore fest, but it actually held my attention throughout the movie, which is very important to all of us. Visually, it looked great. Peter Jackson does his magic again. I'm not even going to call it work, because what that man does is just magic. And beautiful. I mean, the story is well taken. It just translates well into a movie, and he did his best here with The Hobbit. Desolation of Smaug. That's my next pick. That's just an instant for me. I mean, as soon as I heard that Peter Jackson was continuing the Lord of the Rings trilogy with the making The Hobbit, I immediately read the book in order so that I could have some backstory, much like I did before watching the Lord of the Rings. And at least there, he used one book per movie. He's using one book for 3 movies. I can make an entire rant on this, but I'm gonna go ahead and cross that out. It did bore me at times, and I just don't like the fact he split one book into 3 parts. And it's not even that long of a book. It's like 300-something pages. 100 pages per movie. I mean, an animated movie way back in the 70s, 80s, did the entire Hobbit book into an animated movie in like an hour. And you're expecting us to watch 9 hours of film, which has already been... we're running over time here. But my next choice is Despicable Me 2. I thought that it was a great sequel to an already great movie. It did what a sequel should. It didn't ruin the previous one. It held its own. It had a great soundtrack. It managed to take the formula from the first movie, keep it the same, but still adding a few things. It's almost like making a delicious cake, and then making the same cake, but adding some sprinkles and some little candies and whatnot to it to make it a bit more tastier. And loved the story and thought it held its own against even some of the big movies like The Hobbit.
Don't think this is becoming a trend or anything, but once again, I agree with what you said. I thought Despicable Me 2 was a great movie, and I thought The Hobbit Desolation of Smaug sucked. So, we're all in agreement on Despicable Me 2? Great. Because I was going to write it down anyway, so don't think that if you said no, don't think I wouldn't have wrote it, because I would have, because it's a great movie. Anyway, my next pick was Captain Phillips. Man, what a great movie. Tom Hanks was at his best for this. It was just a thriller. It had a way of displaying actual information in a way that was real and fake. It held my attention throughout the movie, and it really had my heart beating and had me wondering, What will happen to these people? Will they be rescued? What will happen to the boat? Will the Navy SEALs be able to take them out in time? And, man, it really worked well. Oh, so are we teaming up on Retro now? Okay, so I did like Spook Me Too. But, yeah, we're gonna play that. Oh, the Highland game? Well, here, take that. Captain Phillips sucked too. Sure, looked great. Tom Hanks did a good job. But you read the accounts of the crew members of that ship. You know what? They said Captain Phillips is the one that betrayed them and the one that led them into danger, not the hero like the movie tried to portray. And also, it did not have me in suspension of disbelief. From the beginning, I knew that they were going to make this movie, and it was going to be about, whoa, they survived this pirate attack. Whoop-de freaking. So you want to play that game? I'll play too. Captain Phillips, boom. Alright, so my last pick is Gravity. Sandra Bullock, great. George Clooney, great. Story, great. Visually, great. Everything, great. And so many people put this at the #1 spot that I had to put it on here. Boom. Gravity. Great. Okay. Okay, Retro. I mean, whew. Don't be on the fence because nobody liked your crappy movie. And just to show I'm the bigger man here, okay, I'm not gonna strike out Gravity because as a movie fan and a movie nerd, it was a great movie. Like you said, the actors were at their best. Everything else was just stunning. So my next pick is Don John. This is just an original concept, and it's hilarious. A guy that's addicted to porn gets a girlfriend, and he has to decide between porn and his girlfriend. And I thought the actors in it were great. And I thought that just the idea, the concept of it, was great. I laughed at the jokes, and it actually got a bit serious at times. The plot actually makes sense, as it is something that people get addicted to these days, and really shouldn't. Okay, woo! I was getting a little worried. I thought I was getting a little soft on you guys. Don John had some clever jokes and a great story, but I thought some of the jokes didn't work. The movie itself didn't hold my attention at all times. It didn't really try anything risque, and I thought the jokes were a bit over a bit. I mean, oh, I get it. Oh, he's lying to his girlfriend about checking email when he's really masturbating. Oh, wow, oh, so funny. I mean, that's not witty. That's not comedy. That's just lying. That's like you asking me if I ever been to San Francisco and I'm saying, no, just kidding. That's not a joke. Anyway, next movie. The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Speaking of things that take risks, this takes risks. This is an original concept. Ben Stiller's at his best, and I just thought the movie was great, and the idea about a reporter who has a secret life doing all these crazy things, I just loved it. And I don't see why anyone shouldn't. Okay. Boring. Uninteresting. I didn't care for the movie at all. Its situations didn't always make sense to me. I saw some of his humor was a bit dry and could have used a bit more work. And I didn't think Ben Stiller put his heart and soul into this character. Alright. Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. So I thought the first one was no doubt a masterpiece. And Anchorman 2, while it's not exactly the same masterpiece, it works. And it does what a sequel should. And overall, I thought the humor was really good. I thought the story was great. And just seeing all these guys get back together again was like seeing your old friends at the playground, or seeing your family at a family reunion, except without all the stale ham and whatnot that Cousin Billy Bob cooked on the stove, and having to get all those pinches from your aunts that you didn't know you had. You know, meeting all those jerks in your family you really would rather not know. Well, this isn't a family therapy section. Anyway, Anchorman 2, great movie. It was a good movie, but it didn't capture the same charm the first one had. Its humor was not as great. It wasn't as remarkable as the first one. It will not be remembered in history like the first one was. And as anybody who watched it will agree, it's better to wait for it to come out on DVD to watch it then than watch it at the movies. It wasn't worth the watch at the movies like Anchorman 1 was. Next one. And I'm out. So, I guess this is my last movie. Hunger Games: Catching Fire. Need I say more? It's the flippin' Hunger Games. I mean, Katniss with her hot bow. Yeah. I'm probably disturbed, aren't I? Oh well, I'm the nerd at this table. He's over there talking about one bone series. Alright, I didn't see it, and you didn't back it up enough to make it sound interesting. All you pretty much did was tell me that the girl, whoever played Katniss, had a nice butt, and she's white, so I really doubt that. And since I'm out, Retro's out, Movie Nerd's out, there's really no point saying the next movie because it doesn't matter. So we got 4 we're all in agreement about. Like 2 of which I said, so... Or, yeah. We'll say 2. Anyway, wrap it up, Retro. Okay, so we're all in agreement about Bad Grandpa, which the music critic sent in. Her, which the movie nerd said. Despicable Me 2, me. And Gravity, me. So, according to this, I clearly have the better sense of movies than you guys. So I'm going to enjoy our X's. And for you, those of you watching at home, that was so good. For those of you watching at home, if you have a topic for a conversation with Myselves video, please tell me in the comments below. And tell me in the comments below what you thought the best movies of the year were. And if you agree with our list. And once again, Bad Grandpa, Her, Despicable Me 2, and Gravity. Tell me what movies you think should make the list. Adios. Thanks for watching.